Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, and children of all ages. My name is Josh, and thank you so much for watching. This is another episode of our Vintage Levi series, and today we're going to be talking about mom jeans, how to identify them, what they are, where they are, when they are, all of those things. Let's go. So, of course, everyone's conception of mom jeans is going to be different, depending on what your mom wore when you were a kid, and maybe what she still wears. But whatever it is, mom jeans has a sort of cultural connotation now for jeans worn by mothers, specifically in the 80s and 90s. It's sort of a tongue-in-cheek sort of reference to the specific style that they wore around that time. Now, I'm sure if you open up your scrapbook and you find your mom, you find you, your little old you, right there, and maybe your mom's, walking down the sidewalk, teaching you how to ride a bike, she's probably wearing some of these jeans. Specifically, when it comes to Levi's, it was the 550, the 512, and the 521 are the sort of holy trinity of mom jeans. Is that sacrilegious? Now, they are not the only mom jeans in the world. I'm sure Lee has some, Wrangler has some, Jordache has, everyone had a version of mom jeans. So you'll come to find that there's sort of a formula or a commonality between all of these jeans. And one of them primarily is the high rise of the jean. And that's the distance between here at the bottom of the crotch where the zipper to the top of the jean here. And high-rise jeans at the time, in the late 80s, early 90s, typically were very high, between 11 and 13 inches. In fact, sort of 11 is the mark for high-rise jeans. Another common aspect is the relaxed thigh area, because coming out of the late 70s and early 80s, the joke was women had to lie down on their bed to get their jeans on because they were so gosh darn tight. And your mom wasn't having any of it after having you. So mom jeans tend to be a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more mature. But just because they're relaxed doesn't necessarily mean they're frumpy. And you'll see in some of these cases that's definitely not the case. Now, it's important to note here that while the 550, 512, and 521 are the primary base that we're going to work from, Levi's had another line called the Orange Tab line, and each of those jeans had an Orange Tab equivalent. Except that instead of having a 5 for the 550, it's a 9. So it'd be 950, 912, and 921. Now, the Orange Tab versions of these jeans are plenty good in and of themselves. They just tend to be the cheaper, less high quality version. But at this point, you don't really even notice. Some people prefer the Orange Tabs because of the way they fit. They fit maybe for a little bit younger crowd. But it's good to know that like the 950 and the 550 are generally speaking the same jean. Now, starting with what I think is the quintessential mom jean, that's the 550. The 550 sported a high rise between 12 and 13 inches in some cases, a relaxed thigh, and tapered from the knee to the ankle. Its 950 equivalent would also do the same. Now, the 550 hits all the general characteristics of a Levi's jean. It's got 5 pockets, it's got the back patch, it's got the rivets, etc., etc. And it's also that just about every one of these jeans will have an inside interior care tag that looks like this. The same goes for the Orange Tab version, the 950. Now, it's important to note that while I did say that the 950 is the Orange Tab equivalent to the 550, there are 550s in the Orange Tab line. And I know that's confusing, but here's how it works out. The 550 in the Orange Tab line are only for men. And you can tell by the back patch that they are men's or women's because of this. They have the width and the length of the jean printed on the back. Women's jeans, however, do not. They only have an M for the general length of the jean. Whether or not you as a woman or you as a man want to fit in those men's 550 Orange Tabs, whatever. If it fits you, it fits great. I do see a lot of times though people advertise 550 Orange Tabs as women's when they in fact are men's. And that can be confusing because there are some differences, particularly but how the crotch is and some of the thighs. So you might have a much wider thigh on the orange tab than you do on the red tab. Or the 950 itself. So you kind of have to be careful. So again, the 950 is the relaxed tapered version in the orange tab line. The 550 for women is the relaxed tapered version in the red tab line, and the orange tab has a men's relaxed version of the 550. I know it's confusing, and I'm sorry, but that's the way they did it. Well, maybe you don't want to look just like your mom. You want to look like, you know, sexy mom. Well, okay. Levi's had another pair of jeans that may help you there, and that is the 512. Now the 512 was released in the early 90s, maybe late 80s. I haven't really been able to figure out exactly when, but sported a 11 to 13 inch rise, so another very high rise jean. But instead of relaxed through the thighs, it was slim through the thighs and tapered from the knee to the ankle, providing a much more form-fitting, sexier look than the 550s would have. Now there are two versions of the 512. The 512 tapered and the 512 straight. The straight version, instead of tapering from the knee to the ankle, actually stays straight. So it gives you a much more straight pencil look instead of sort of a tapered down arrow look. It's important to know that when you're buying or selling that you know what type of 512 you're dealing with, because they do look quite different. The 512 tapering down to the ankle does give you a very skinny jean type look, especially with the high rise. The straight leg gives a little bit more boxy on the knee to the ankle and may not be what you're looking for. Now the 512 does have an orange tab equivalent, and it's the 912. So if you can't find a 512 that you like, you might try an orange tab in 912. Now it's important to note that the 512 is also made for men. There are men's versions. You can tell the difference immediately by whether or not the size is printed on the back patch. And it may not mean much to you that it is a men's jean versus a women's jean, because they are both slim to the thigh and tapered to the knee and ankle. There also is a straight legged version of it as well, but that is for you to decide. Now say you want to be somewhere between the relaxed nature of the 550 and the slim form-fitting nature of the 512. Well, the 521 or the 921, which is the orange tab equivalent, might come in handy. It has the same high rise. In fact, I find sometimes higher rise than these other two, but it has a tapered thigh and a tapered leg, giving you somewhere in between the 550 and the 512 in terms of form factor. This gives you a much more triangular leg shape. It might fit your particular profile better. They again follow all the same traditional Levi's construction values, both for the orange tab and for the red tab versions, and fit maybe better than the other ones do. Now I find that the 521 and the 921 are a bit harder to find than the 550 or 512 or whatever, mostly because I think they were probably not nearly as popular as either of those two, so there weren't as many produced. Now some people say that the 501 and the 505 are mom jeans. I left them off the list because they were traditionally a male design. There are women styled 501s, 701s, and 505s, etc., 705s, but those were sort of just pulled from the male design. So while they may fit some of the descriptors like higher rises of mom jeans, and they may look plenty like mom jeans, and heck, you can call them mom jeans. I'm not gonna argue with you, but that's my rationale. So whatever the case, whatever mom jean version you like the best, I hope you find the jean perfect for you. I hope if you are selling these jeans and you're finding them in the wild and finding new homes for them, that you can list them better, that you can communicate about them a bit better, and that your buyers will be more satisfied because you're a little bit more knowledgeable. So thank you so much for listening to a male go on and on about mom jeans as if he knows what he's talking about. I appreciate it, and I hope I helped, and if I didn't, you can just tell me to shut up. That's fine. Anyway, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and we appreciate you guys. We'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.